All right, Joe the Pro here at the Grand Del Mar. Very opulent place, Sean Cox's place. Very excited to be here. Got my first guest of the fascinating five, Miss Alison Curdt. It's going to take me a minute to go through your bio here, Alison. So let's see what we got here. PGA Master Professional, LPGA Master Professional, Golf Digest Best Young Teacher 2016-2017, LPGA Top 50 Teachers 2017-2018. 2018 Southern California Club Fitter of the Year, 2016 Southern California PGA Teacher of the Year. You got inducted into the Teaching Hall of Fame last year. That was very cool. 2015 LPGA National Teacher of the Year. 2017, 2015, and 2012 LPGA Teaching and Club Professional Western Teacher of the Year. 2015 SCPGA Northern Chapter Teacher of the Year. GRAA Top 50 Teacher. Psychotherapist. We'll talk a little bit more about that in 2 seconds. You played in, you've won the Women's SCPGA Section Championship twice, the 3-time Women's SCPGA Player of the Year, played in 5 Women's PGA Championships, the PGA Men's Professional Championship, and I think you're the first woman to ever do that. Awesome. Multiple-time LPGA Teaching and Club Pro Section Champion and Regional Stroke Play winner and runner-up at the LPGA Teaching and Club Professional National Championship. Just got your doctorate in clinical psychology, yes. Dr. Curdt, with an emphasis on sports psychology from California Southern University and a master's degree in clinical psychology from Pepperdine University. You work with adolescents, couples, families, and individuals at Curdt Performance Therapy in Woodland Hills, California, which helps with your coaching, I'm sure. And on top of all that, Alison just won the election to become the vice president of the LPGA Teaching and Club Professionals. How exciting, Alison Curdt. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Fascinating Five.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You sound out of breath from reading all of that.
I am, I assure you. That's phenomenal. So first of all, we got to touch on the vice presidency in this election. Any takeaways from this monumental?
I think my first reaction was, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But I think that there had been some clues for me along the way about engaging in a leadership position. And I just sort of took those clues and those signs as maybe I should step up and do something. And so I have a great partner in crime with Marvel Bernard, who's the national president, and she's also a PGA member. So we have a lot of very similar views. And as we ran our campaign, I think we continued to mold together and realize how much we have a very clear vision together about what we'd like to see the LPGA Teaching and Club Professional Division do. So it's pretty exciting. We just sort of went into this race and did it the best that we can and had a ton of support and then ended up winning. So it was a really cool phone call to get from Mike Wan, the LPGA commissioner. I still have that voicemail. It's pretty cool to hear. He called all the way from Shanghai. And we'll see what we can do.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I know we were all here in Southern California PGA very excited watching you go through that process and then to win it. We're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. So just quickly, how did you get involved in golf?
It actually stemmed from jealousy. So a little funny story behind that. Where I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, most organized sports back in the 80s, which I'm dating myself, it didn't start until the age of 8. So my brother, who's 2 years older, was able to join all these different sports teams and get involved in baseball and have my dad be a part of his team and coaching. So as a 7-year-old, I was quite jealous that I saw my brother get to do all this stuff. And so was kind of whining about it. And Dad finally took me out to the golf course, which, by the way, you couldn't be on till the age of 8. And he would sneak me out to some back holes because he was a golfer. Golf was a part of our family culture. And I really just had one club and just started swinging away and did pretty well pretty early. So that was kind of our thing to do, sneak out on the golf course and have something together. And then, of course, when I turned 8, it was no holds bar and able to do any sport I wanted, and golf was obviously one of those.
Just quickly for a tip for, not your favorite golf tip, which I'm going to ask you in a minute, but since you have such a detailed background in psychology, is there any quick tip you could give our viewers out there in regards to like anger management? Any type tip that could help them, mentally on the golf course?
I think the best tip that I can give you is not how to prevent anger, but how to cope with it when it comes, because anger is like a natural reaction that we all have. And I would encourage you to feel anger and experience it. So it's kind of a 5-step process. So notice where the emotion is in your body, whether anger's in your throat, in your jaw. Try to put a shape around that feeling that you have, whether it's a square or spiky amoeba sort of looking thing. Add in a color. Most people pick reds and yellows and oranges when it's anger, and then put a name to it. Some people will just say it's anger. Some kids like to use different words, Bob or Betty or whatever name they come up with. And once you have this sort of feeling identified with a location, with a shape, with a color, with a name, you can now start to work with it through breath. So if you have this spiky red-orange thing hanging out in your throat that you're calling anger because you've just missed a putt, then with deep breath, you can inhale and exhale that shape, that object, and get it out of your body. And that would be a whole complete process that you can do literally in 5 seconds to deal with the emotion of anger.
Oh, awesome. Excellent tip. Thank you for that. Getting back to your playing, I failed to mention that at our last Pro, we partnered up, and it was a scramble, and Alison birdied the last 3 holes on her own ball to get us inside the top 10, so thank you for that. I wanted to publicly acknowledge that. Phenomenal player. It's always great to watch you play. Let's talk just a little bit about what your favorite golf tip might be.
Absolutely. What I'm most currently using now is anything that's allowing individuals to move weight and to move pressure throughout their swing. So a lot of players don't use their body weight and move it correctly to amplify their distance. So what I like to do is start with the feet together, allow the player to swing back, and then they step into the shot as they sort of downswing, and they kind of feel how their body is moving forward towards the target. So I call it the step drill. A lot of times I'll use it without a golf ball, so have feet together, backswing, step forward with the lead foot, swing down, and you'll feel kind of this explosion of power as your body and the momentum of the golf club are all moving in the same direction.
Awesome, good. Also, I failed to mention Alison is on the Northern Chapter, Southern California PGA Board of Directors. She's also on the Section Board of Directors with me, and it's been such a pleasure having you on the board.
Thank you.
She adds an air of legitimacy. Not saying it wasn't there before, but it's great to have you here.
I gotta jump in and say how Joe and I met, which is kind of cool. I was a little tentative about being involved in the governance of the PGA and just sort of dove straight in, and we had our annual meeting, summer meeting, and I paired up with a friend who was an apprentice, and Joe paired up with a buddy who was an apprentice, and sadly this tournament is so popular that apprentices can't play in it. So as we get a day or two out from the actual event, our tournament director reached out and said, well, you can't play with your apprentice, but you can play with Mr. Joe Groman. So I get online and I'm like, well, who is this Joe Groman? I know we're serving together, but I don't know him as a friend. And I start looking up his past scores. And his past scores were in the low 80s. And I was like, oh gosh, who are we getting involved with here? And then we had the best time ever. And we tied for first and went into a playoff. And I was like, this guy can play. So now I've got a partner for life for all my team tournaments.
Yeah, I'm a field filler these days, but I have a great time out there. Yeah, absolutely. And
You brought your A game on that one.
Right, and we do have the Pinehurst coming up soon, so we're looking forward to making some noise there. So. Oh man, oh wow, yeah, they do put your scores on those things, don't they? So Alison, what is your current focus in your clinical practice, Dr. Curdt?
Well, I split my time between teaching golf during the day and then working with athletes and individuals who want to perform better at nighttime in my private practice. So I have like my day job and my nighttime job. And those two worlds do start to blend together because obviously when we work with our students, there's an element of performance that we're trying to improve as well. But my main specialty and focus is in athletic traumas. So that's a term that I've coined working with athletes who have experienced adversity, who've experienced failures in their performance that continue to linger with them as they play in the present day. So for example, let's say you've played in a golf tournament and you've gotten into a playoff and you end up losing because you 3-putted the last hole. The emotions, the experience, the pictures of what happened during that particular round may stick with you for 10, 20, 30 years later. And anytime you get into a like or similar situation, that old memory will start to stir up some emotions and can impact your performance negatively. So how I help clients and how I help my golfers is to clear out those old memories, clear out those old traumas, athletic traumas, through a psychological technique called EMDR, which stands for eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing. And basically it's taking the old memory and allowing someone who's in a calm, relaxed state to process it and not have it be stuck and trigger them in present day.
Oh, interesting. Wow, that's great. Dr. Curdt. That's why she's got a doctor in front of her name now. That's awesome. So proud of you. You know, you're such a shining star here in the Southern California PGA. Any future goals and plans? What are you thinking about going forward?
I think with my dive into governance in the LPGA, I'm going to test the waters and see how that feels for me, managing my 2 businesses and also managing being a leader at that kind of level. And that might encourage me to continue in the PGA, working my way up into different levels of governance. But I want to continue playing. I'd like to continue making more KPMGs and playing in more majors. Would certainly love to make another trip back to the PGA Professional Championship. That's just an amazing, amazing tournament, and it's so hard to get out of our section. I mean, this year it had to be 4 under in order to make the top 10 for 3 rounds of golf. So there's definitely some big playing goals that I still continue to have, and do as best as I can in running my businesses and helping golfers find the best version of themselves.
Awesome. Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Young lady. Well, good. Well, thank you for being the first guest on the Fascinating 5 interesting nuggets. I give you Dr. Alison Curdt.